to the channel. My name's Brian Kingsbury. Today we're going to do another Brian Reads the News segment. This one coming to us from mentalfloss.com. It's titled 8 Surprising Facts About Chuck Norris. Alright, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. This article is by Jake Rosen. It was published June 23rd, 2020. What do you guys think? Are those his real teeth or are those veneers? For decades, martial artist and actor Carlos Ray Norris Jr. has been kicking his way into the hearts of action film fans. In addition to his competitive karate career, Norris has starred in a string of successful movies as well as the long-running CBS drama Walker, Texas Ranger. With Norris having reached the milestone age of 80 years old back in March of 2020, we're taking a look at some of the more interesting facts about his life and career. Fact number 1, Chuck Norris is a military veteran. Born on March 10, 1940 in Ryan, Oklahoma, Norris was the oldest of 3 boys and a self-described shy child. After he moved to California, Norris attended North Torrance High School. After graduating, he joined the U.S. Air Force, where he became a member of the military police in the hopes of pursuing a career in law enforcement. It was in the service while being stationed in Asan Air Base in South Korea that Norris first discovered the martial arts. When he once found himself unable to control a rowdy drunk in a bar while on patrol duty, Norris realized he needed combat skills. He studied at Tang So Doi and Taekwondo before returning to California. When he was discharged from the Air Force in 1962, Norris began teaching the skills he had acquired to students. Fact 2, Steve McQueen got Chuck Norris into acting. Norris would become a world champion in karate contests, which lent credence to his abilities as a martial arts instructor. He taught several celebrities the finer points of self-defense, including the Osmonds, Priscilla Presley, and Steve McQueen. Norris even trained Price is Right host Bob Barker. But not all his schools were doing well, and after retiring from competition in 1974, Norris was looking for other opportunities. Steve McQueen suggested that Norris try his hand at acting. McQueen was right, eventually. It took several years and 9 films, but Norris had a breakthrough with his 1982 film Lone Wolf McQuade. Fact number 3, Chuck Norris needed to obey a producer's request in order to face off against Bruce Lee. While Norris didn't become a household name until the 1980s, his turn as a villain in 1972's Return of the Dragon, also known as Way of the Dragon, opposite Bruce Lee wound up being a seminal meeting of 2 on-screen martial arts legends. When Lee was looking for an adversary for the climactic fight, he called Norris, whom he knew and was friends with. But the film's producer insisted that Norris gain 20 pounds so that he would appear to be much larger than Lee on camera. Quote, "That's why I don't do jump kicks in the movie," Norris told Empire in 2007. "I couldn't get off the ground." Fact 4, Norris founded his own martial arts system. Taking the knowledge he had acquired over many years of training in Tang So Do and Taekwondo, Norris developed his own unique martial arts system and philosophy that he eventually dubbed Chun Kuk Do. In addition to combat techniques, the system encourages students to develop themselves to their maximum potential and look for the good in other people. It was renamed the Chuck Norris System in 2015. Fact 5, Chuck Norris once marketed Chuck Norris action jeans. Thanks to his fame in the martial arts world, Norris was sought after to endorse athletic products. In 1982, martial arts equipment company Century recruited Norris to be a spokesperson for their karate jeans, which featured flexible fabric sewn into the crotch that would presumably allow the wearer to deliver a bone-crushing kick while looking fashionable. Eventually renamed Action Jeans, Norris promoted them for years. Fact 6. Chuck Norris had his own cartoon series. At the height of his popularity in the 1980s, Norris teamed up with animation company Ruby Spears for an animated series, Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. The show featured Norris and a team of martial artists fighting villains like Super Ninja and The Claw. Although 65 shows were planned, just a few aired. Quote, "We only did 6 of them, and then a woman at CBS said, 'Those are too violent,'" Norris told MTV News in 2009. Fact 7. Chuck Norris is a real Texas Ranger. For 8 seasons, Norris pummeled bad guys as the star of the 1990s CBS television series Walker, Texas Ranger, which became the first primetime show shot on location in Texas at Norris's insistence. In 2010, Norris was named an honorary member of the Texas Rangers by State Governor Rick Perry in acknowledgement of Norris's work in raising awareness for the elite unit and for his work helping underprivileged youths via martial arts programs. Norris's brother Aaron Norris, who was an executive producer on the show, also received the designation. And finally, fact 8, Chuck Norris's role in Dodgeball was a surprise to Chuck Norris. Norris is generally good-humored about his persona and is often willing to poke fun at himself. But when he was asked to do a cameo in the 2004 comedy Dodgeball, a true underdog story, he passed because he didn't feel like driving 3 hours to the movie set in Long Beach, California. When star Ben Stiller called to ask personally, Norris agreed, but didn't read the script. He simply shot his scene where he offers thumbs up to the Dodgeball competitors. When Norris saw the movie in theaters, he was surprised at the context. Quote, "But in the end, when Ben's a big fatty and watching TV, the last line of the whole movie is effin' Chuck Norris," Norris told Empire in 2007. "My mouth fell open to hear," he said. "Holy mackerel. That was a shock. Ben didn't tell me about that." Alright, there you have it, 8 surprising facts about Chuck Norris. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to give this one a like. You can do that now. And if you really enjoy this sort of content, consider subscribing to the channel. We've prepared another video about Chuck Norris with more fun facts about the martial arts legend. Click the thumbnail on the screen to watch more. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian Kingsbury. Today we're going to do another Brian Reads the News segment. This one is coming to us from Get TV and it's titled Chuck Norris 10 Facts About the Star of Walker, Texas Ranger. For many viewers, especially those of us who grew up in the VHS era, Chuck Norris is the face of the action genre. As John Wayne is to westerns, Chuck is synonymous with the distinctly American variation on the Asian martial arts films that exploded in popularity during the 1970s. His was the name many of us looked for when we scanned the shelves of our local video stores back in the day, and he rarely disappointed because Chuck Norris movies had one thing very few American action films had: a world champion athlete as a star. So it was pretty big news when Norris decided to kick off a television career in 1993, and it was even bigger news when Walker, Texas Ranger became a hit for 9 years. If you love the Norris cinematic kick-em-ups of the late 1970s through the mid-1990s, Walker will feel delightfully familiar. A bad guy does something evil, Walker pursues, and they end up foot-to-face combat. Who knew so many Texans could do karate? If you watched the show in its original run, you know exactly what we mean. If you didn't, Get TV gives you a second chance 7 days a week. Here are some fun facts about the action icon. Fun fact number 1, he almost died as a baby. Wilma Norris was just 18 years old when she gave birth to the baby who would grow up to be Chuck Norris. According to his memoir, Against All Odds, My Story, Chuck Norris' mom endured an exhausting 7 days of labor during which doctors feared for her life and his. Norris was not breathing on his own when he was born on March 10, 1940, and had to be monitored in intensive care for the first 5 days. Wilma's baby probably isn't going to live, his grandmother wrote in a letter that week. He beat the odds because he's Chuck Norris. Fun fact number 2, he was a shy kid. Chuck Norris' real name, Carlos Ray Norris, was named after Reverend Carlos Berry, the family's minister in Ryan, Oklahoma. As a child, Chuck and his family moved frequently. Quote, "In school, I was a shy and inhibited," he wrote in his memoir. "If the teacher asked me to recite something aloud in front of the class, I would just shake my head no." His weekly escape was at the movies, where he'd spend Saturday afternoons watching cowboy stars like Gene Autry and Roy Rogers. Quote, "Years later, I would recall those Western heroes when I developed the character I wanted to play," he wrote. Fun fact number 3, Norris learned martial arts in the Air Force. On Walker, Texas Ranger Cordell Walker was inspired by the murder of his parents to become a lawman. Similarly, Chuck Norris used his shyness as a motivation to pursue strength and confidence through martial arts. While stationed in Osan Air Base in the late 1950s, Norris studied Tang So Do, a style of Korean karate that uses the feet and open hands as weapons. He earned his first-degree black belt in Tang So Do and a third-degree brown belt in Judo, and became a sought-after instructor for his fellow soldiers. Fun fact number 4, he had famous students. Norris was honorably discharged from the Air Force in 1962 and planned to transition to a career in law enforcement. No positions were available, so he began teaching karate in an LA suburb. His proximity to Hollywood made him a popular celebrity instructor, and over the next 15 years, his students would include Michael Landon, Dan Blocker, and David Canary from NBC's Western series Bonanza, game show host Bob Barker, Elvis Presley's wife Priscilla Presley, Oscar-nominated actor Steve McQueen, and the Osmond family. Norris even did a karate routine with student Donnie Osmond on the first episode of The Donnie and Marie Show. Fun fact number 5, his first opponent in a movie was Dean Martin. Norris met Bruce Lee in a karate competition at New York's Madison Square Garden in 1967, and the two martial artists became friends. When Lee was hired as fight coordinator for the James Bond spoof The Wrecking Crew in 1968, he gave Norris his first acting role. Chuck played a bouncer who confiscates the gun of secret agent Matt Helm, played by Dean Martin, then fights him. Norris and Martin planned out the scene, but Dean forgot to duck and was knocked across the room by Chuck's kick. Martin shook it off and went on to beat Norris in the film. Quote, "I may have been a champion karate expert," Norris wrote, "but Dean was Matt Helm." Fun fact number 6, he was a karate champion. Norris began competing professionally in 1964, initially to drum up business for his karate schools. He won the World Professional Middleweight Karate Champion title in 1968 and held it for 6 consecutive years until age 34. Chuck retired for competition in 1974 with the record of a 183-10-2 and was named Fighter of the Year by Black Belt Magazine. Fun fact number 7, he started his career as an action star at age 37 and was coached by Steve McQueen. After Bruce Lee cast Norris as his opponent in The Way of the Dragon in 1972, student Steve McQueen suggested that Chuck pursue a career in acting. He scored his first lead role in the trucker film Breaker Breaker in 1977 and used the money he earned to develop what would become his big break, Good Guys Wear Black, in 1978. McQueen saw the film and coached Norris to say less, do more, and, quote, put as much of yourself into the character as possible. Norris wrote that he's been following that advice ever since. Fun fact number 8, Missing in Action was inspired by his brother. After Good Guys Wear Black in 1978, an Air Force of One in 1979, and The Octagon in 1980 earned more than $100 million, Norris was on his way to superstardom. Next came An Eye for an Eye in 1981, Silent Rage in 1982, Forced Vengeance in 82, and The Lone Wolf McQuade in 1983, each more successful than the last. In 1984, Norris wanted to do a film about MIA soldiers in memory of his younger brother, Wyland Norris, who had been killed in action in Vietnam. Cannon Films agreed to produce the movie, which became Missing in Action, which came out in 1984. 2 sequels followed in 1985 and 1988. It was the beginning of a long partnership with Cannon, which continued until Walker, Texas Ranger. Fun fact number 9, there was a Chuck Norris cartoon. In September of 1986, Norris lent his voice to an animated miniseries from Ruby Spears Productions. Chuck Norris Karate Commandos featured Norris as a government agent leading a team of peacemakers against Vulture, which the initial stood for was never explained, but it sounded scary. Norris also appeared in each episode in the flesh, literally using a shirtless in the gym to share his life lessons and show off sweet karate moves. 5 episodes aired in syndication, accompanied by Toyline from Kenner and Marvel Comic. Fun fact number 10, Walker, Texas Ranger was a family affair. Norris was offered the lead role in Walker, Texas Ranger while filming Hellbound in 1992. He agreed, and his Hellbound co-star Sherry J. Wilson was cast as his eventual love interest. Chuck would become co-executive producer on Walker along with his brother Aaron Norris, who had directed Delta Force 2 in 1990, The Hitman in 91, and Sidekicks in 92. Chuck's son Eric Norris was a stunt coordinator and director on the series, and his son Mike Norris acted in 8 episodes of the 2005 reunion film Walker, Texas Ranger Trial by Fire. And finally, fun fact number 11, bonus, Chuck Norris has a new generation of fans. According to Time magazine, Chuck has become an online cult hero. As the subject of popular internet memes featuring hilariously hyperbolic claims about his strength and abilities, Norris even joined in the fun as a co-writer of the official Chuck Norris fact book, proving that Chuck Norris can truly do everything. Alright, there you have it, another successful Brian Reads the News segment. You can find this one at Get TV if you want to check it out. Chuck Norris, 10 facts about the star of Walker, Texas Ranger. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to give this one a big like. Hit that big like button, that big thumb button, and give this one a like. Help get it in front of a few more eyes. And if you really like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. When you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell, you'll be notified every time a new video drops. I thank you for watching this one to the very end. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.